got potential, and he's probably found about his right level, I would say.
Yeah, I'll probably talk more about Romain Navarrete on Wigan Fan TV this week. But certainly in the odd encounter I've had with him, seems like a really nice guy. Tries really hard, and one thing I would always credit him for is his first year at Wigan didn't go to plan. He didn't seem to have what was required, I would say, to be a regular in a Wigan team at that time, and he ended up going back out on loan to Catalans for the back end of that season. However, instead of sort of sulking and going and finding a deal elsewhere and stuff, when Wigan would have let him go if he'd have asked for a release at that stage after that Catalan loan spell, I'm sure of it, he actually said, no, I want to come back, I want to fight for my place. And to his credit, he did that. He played in the grand final at the end of 2018. It's just he has some high-profile errors in him. Like, he always seems to make his errors in the matches that the most people are watching. So that's always kind of been a one-step forward, two-step back situation since then. But good luck to him on his trip over to Wakefield for a season-long loan. Liam Burns signed a new 4-year deal at Wigan as well, the young forward. So whilst one forward's maybe gone, another one secured his long-term future at the club.
Yep.
And also, something that's kind of confirmed, and it kind of slipped me by, but it was confirmed in some of the trade press and on the Love Rugby League website as well, that Catalans prop Sam Moa will miss the start of the season due to surgery on his wrist. So he fractured his wrist last year, but he's going to need another operation, and it looks like that operation is going to rule him out for maybe up to 2 months, which 33 years old, he probably doesn't heal that fast as well now at this stage of his career. So good luck to him, but that's a big loss for the first couple of months of the season for the Catalans.
It is, yeah. It's unfortunate as the season kicks off, we seem to be getting more and more injury reports. In more unfortunate news, Keighley Cougars utility back Jordan Aitchison requires an operation after having a heart condition diagnosed earlier this month. The problem was discovered during a routine heart screening. The RFL introduced mandatory tests following the death of fellow Keighley player Danny Jones following a cardiac arrest in May 2015. Aitchison has been advised his condition can be cured by surgery and is awaiting a date for the operation. Obvious good news in the fact that it's been diagnosed and that something's been done about it before it becomes acute.
Yeah, exactly. You say unfortunately. I'd say it's really positive news. It underlines the improvements in the way that the sport goes around these sort of things. And actually, Jordan has come out with some other suggestions about how it can be improved even further after his experience of having gone through this testing before and it not been picked up, but understanding why it was picked up this time, because he went through like a stress ECG rather than a resting ECG, which means that it was performed when his heart was under slightly more strain. And so actually it seems that this has given another angle that the clubs can look at, that the sport can look at, and I think it's just a continued blessing that came from the silver lining that came from the tragic Danny Jones circumstances. So I think it's a positive story that we can keep making better strides to make our players' futures more secure physically.
Absolutely, yep, definitely.
A new Super League TV show and documentary series will be shown on Sky Sports. Inside Super League will air every Wednesday throughout the 2020 season. It's going to be on Sky Sports Arena at 7 and 10 p.m. and I'm guessing maybe through some online or catch up or what have you. Repeated on Thursdays as well, just before the coverage starts there. Presented by Will Perry, who has really got himself on the inside of Super League, hasn't he? With this. Studio guests will be involved. It'll have in-depth interviews, features, which will help raise the profile of our stars, wouldn't it? Analysis and previews of the live matches that are going to be coming up. Former Leeds player Lois Forsell is going to be involved as well, which is fantastic. Obviously, she's an ambassador with the RFL now as well as a role with Leeds Rhinos. She's going to co-present sections of the show. It's not the only project that the City Talking, who are of course the Leeds-based production company who've done all the videos for the last couple of years now for the RFL and Super League. It's not the only project that they've been working on. over the off-season. They were granted unprecedented behind-the-scenes access to Super League clubs for the 2019 season, and We Play League is going to be an Access All Areas four-part series that's going to be released also on Sky Sports and for outside the UK on Amazon Prime. So all our listeners outside the UK will be able to get this on Amazon Prime, and I guess it'll follow a similar pattern to sort of the All or Nothing series that we already see from football and NFL and on Amazon Prime. So that's fantastic. I did hear about this being in production last season, but I wasn't quite sure what the end outcome was going to be in terms of what we would get to see. So it's fantastic that we now know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you and I are probably both big fans of NFL films, aren't we, in terms of what they bring to American football, the production values, etc., and any kind of steps that you can take on the path towards that kind of quality. It gives something extra to the game.
Yeah.
And this is clearly a step in the right direction, but working with a local kind of organisation who have done things with Leeds United and have been around the city of Leeds for a long time.
Well, were they involved in the Leeds Rhinos?
Yes, they were.
Rugby AM joint. That was.
They were in. The documentary about the treble winning season, whatever that was called. I forget. That's the one.
Which was fantastic and was very much in the NFL films, the Super Bowl winning, what do they call it? America's Game. Very much in that sort of keeping of that style. It was fantastic, and more of that, please. And hopefully this is going to be similar level of quality.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's great, Sky Sports, but the truth is the Amazon Prime's the big deal, isn't it? That kind of worldwide coverage and that kind of, as you say, it's sharing it with fans, existing fans across the world. But it also, if that can appear on the home screen, even if it's just for a short amount of time, that could be massive in terms of just getting people, clicking it. Get Sonny Bill Williams' image on the front cover, and jobs are good, isn't it?
Well, unfortunately, obviously, he won't be part of the series for that covered the 2019 season, but surely people will be looking at other future options to do similar things. Hopefully it's a great success, and we'll have more of the same. And everyone overseas, make sure you enjoy it on Amazon Prime, and make sure all your friends and family enjoy it on their Amazon Prime accounts as well.
Yes, get those metrics spinning.
Yeah.
And finally, the president of the Greek Rugby League Association is hopeful Rugby League can be played freely in Greece following their qualification for the 2021 World Cup. Greece, currently ranked 11th in the International Rugby League rankings, qualified for the World Cup for the first time last year. They'll join Samoa, France and host England in Group A of the competition, which was drawn very famously at Buckingham Palace. The country were forced to play matches away from their home during their qualifying campaign after a dispute over recognition of the official governing body. A number of domestic matches were also played in secret because of the political conflict. However, GRLA President George Stylianos says the political landscape is changing, and the signs are that Rugby League is beginning to take root in Greece. He hopes that Rugby League will be openly played in Greece this year without any repercussions from the authorities following a change of presidency at the Hellenic Federation of Modern Pentathlon.
Yeah, this is a story obviously we've been tracking some time now. We're big fans of International Rugby League on the Super League pod, and I think this was taken from the Love Rugby League website, which is a good place to get updates on this story because they are quick on it, just to see other good sources of Rugby League news are. But good news that positive changes are starting to happen, and obviously the exposure of being at a World Cup, even though they're likely to get not great results at the World Cup, is just nothing but positive.
Absolutely, and it sounds like there's been some adult conversations with people in leadership positions, which is all what was really needed in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah. let's hope for more positive news on that front as we go forward. So if people want to get their views in, fan views in on the week's news, then we do have a Google form that you can just click on the link and drop in your name and drop in your view on the news story. We try to put the headlines in there, but if there's any news stories that aren't in the headlines but you want us to talk about, give some exposure to, get our views on it, then drop it into that form and we'll discuss it, basically. Head to all the usual places, the BBC Rugby League page, the Love Rugby League website that we mentioned, Total RL, of course, their news page as well. Head to those places, then send us your views on any story that they report, really, and we'll discuss it. I'll try to make sure that the news links the link for the form for the news are put out across our social media platforms during the week, and also I'll put it on the episode blogs on superleaguepod.com, so it's a permanent location to kind of link back to. If each episode blog has it on, you'll never forget where to go and find it. Okay, that is news from around the world of Rugby League. We're now going to move on to the results section. So results time, and we've got the second round of the Challenge Cup to recap for you all. We did get a couple of fan views on these. Again, look out for the links to the Google form where you just quickly drop in your thoughts on any match you've been to, watched, listened to, followed on Twitter or what have you, and we'll talk about them each week on the show. First result to talk about was one that was on TV, although it looks like not everyone got to watch it. And that was Wigan St Pat's 10, West Hull 30.
Yep, Carsten had this feedback to say. No clue what I did to the BBC, but this game was geo-blocked in Switzerland. Dave Woods must hate me. I have it on very good authority, Carsten, that yeah, he does hate you, and he personally switched it off just for you.
It wasn't Dave Woods doing the commentary, was it? It was Matt Newsom.
But it don't matter. It was still Dave Woods who did it, though.
And I think because, did you notice someone snuck in a bit of a joke tweet that that they read out? I think it was want to give a shout out to all the lads working hard at Dickens Cider who were watching the game whilst they're doing the shift.
No, I didn't get that one.
Credit to them, but yeah, West Hull are sort of a step above from Wigan St Pat's, and they give their Australia-looking jerseys some good credence in performances like this. So well done to West Hull.
Yep.
It was the Thornhill Trojans 58, the Normanton Knights 14. So big win there for the Dewsbury-based amateur side.
Yep.
York Acorn 34, Barrow Island 14. Army. So we've got some Forces recognition that moved through into round 3 because they beat Skirlaw 17-16.
It was extra time, this, wasn't it?
Right, okay. I must admit I didn't see any bits of it, but
I'm fairly certain it went to extra time.
Very close game and exciting outcome, and it's good to have the Forces move through. Police 18, Rochdale Mayfield 19, so another really close game. This time our Police drop out, but famous amateur side there, Rochdale Mayfield, progress through in a tight one. Milford Marlins 12, Ince Rosebridge 19. Siddle, who are another one of the class of the community game, they won big against the Ashton Bears 62-4. Ashton Bears are one of the community sides who've been sort of damaged by arson and that sort of crap that we don't want to see over recent times, aren't they? So good luck to those guys, and I think there was some people raising funds for those guys over this weekend as well, so good luck to those guys. Underbank Rangers 28, Dizzington 14. Is that how you pronounce that one?
I say Distington.
Well, we don't know some of these, do we?
Yeah, something like that.
We're not local to all of these sides. West Bank Bears 18, Bentley 20. I think Bentley were the lowest ranked side to progress from this round, so well done to those guys. Lee Miners Rangers 26, Upton 6, and the Sherwood Wolf Hunt, who I must admit were not a name truly on my radar until Bruiser Sean Orton mentioned that he'd been to one of their games recently. I can't remember if it was a league game he went to or the previous round of the Cup, but they're a side that obviously are starting to progress in the Midlands there. But despite giving a competitive showing of themselves, they were beaten by Bradford-based West Bowling 38 points to 6 in this game. That was on the R League app.